Medicare has built-in penalties that never go away, and the deadlines that trigger them pass quietly, with no warning letter and no second chance. Here is what nobody tells you about Medicare. It is not automatic, the deadlines are hidden, and if you miss one, the penalty does not last a year. It gets added to your premium every single month, for the rest of your life. So in this video I am walking you through 7 of the most expensive Medicare traps, what each one costs, and the one step that keeps you safe. And trap number 5 is the only one on this list that can never be undone, so make sure you stay with me until we get there. One quick note before we begin. This is general information, not financial, insurance, or legal advice. Medicare rules, premiums, and income limits change every single year, so always confirm the details for your own situation with Medicare directly, or with your state health insurance assistance program. With that said, let us start with the trap that catches more people than any other. Trap number 1. Missing your enrollment window, and the Part B penalty that follows you forever. Most people believe that when they turn 65, Medicare simply begins. For many, it does not. Unless you are already collecting Social Security, you usually have to sign up yourself, and you have to do it inside a specific window. It is called your initial enrollment period, and it lasts 7 months. The 3 months before the month you turn 65, your birthday month itself, and the 3 months after. Miss that window without qualifying coverage, and Medicare does not just shrug and let you join later. It adds a late enrollment penalty to your Part B premium. Roughly 10% extra for every full year you were late. And here is the part that shocks people. That penalty is not temporary. It is added to your premium every month, for as long as you have Medicare. The Part B penalty adds about 10% for every year you were late, and it never goes away. Let me make that real. Suppose someone signs up 2 years late. Their premium is now roughly 20% higher, this year, next year, and every year after that, for the rest of their life. Over a 20-year retirement, one missed deadline at 65 can quietly add up to thousands of dollars, all for paperwork they never knew they were supposed to file. Now, there is one big exception, and it protects millions of people. If you are still working at 65, and you have health coverage through your own employer, or your spouse's current employer, you can usually delay Part B without any penalty at all. When that job or coverage ends, you get a special enrollment period to sign up cleanly. The key word there is current employer. Hold on to that thought, because it is exactly where trap number 3 is hiding. While we are here, let me clear up a common point of confusion. Medicare Part A, the hospital portion, is premium-free for most people who worked and paid into the system, and many people take it at 65 even while safely delaying Part B because of employer coverage. The penalty trap we are talking about is mostly about Part B, the part with the monthly premium. That is the deadline with teeth, and that is the one to circle. So here is the move that protects you from this entire trap. If you are anywhere near 65, write down your 7-month window right now, starting 3 months before your birthday month. If you plan to keep working, talk to your benefits office and confirm, in writing, that your coverage lets you delay Medicare safely. 5 minutes of checking now can spare you a lifetime of paying extra. Trap number 2. The drug plan penalty that hits even people who take no medications. This next one feels almost unfair when people first hear it. Medicare Part D is the part that covers prescription drugs, and it is optional. So thousands of healthy 65-year-olds look at it and think, I do not take a single pill. Why on earth would I pay for a drug plan I will not use? And they skip it. It sounds perfectly logical. It is also a trap. Here is how it works. For every month you go without a drug plan, or without other coverage that Medicare considers acceptable, a penalty quietly builds. Roughly 1% of a national base premium, for every month you waited. Stay out for 3 years because you felt healthy, and you have built yourself a penalty in the range of 36%. The Part D penalty grows about 1% for every month you wait, and it is added to your premium forever. And just like the Part B penalty, this one does not expire. When you finally do enroll, perhaps because a new prescription has suddenly entered your life, that extra percentage is stacked on top of your premium every single month, for as long as you have drug coverage. You end up paying more, at exactly the moment you started needing the coverage most. The frustrating part is how cheap the escape is. In most areas there are basic drug plans with very low monthly premiums. Enrolling in even the least expensive plan in your area, just to hold your place in the system, keeps the penalty clock from ever starting. Think of it less as buying drug coverage, and more as buying protection for your future self. And there is a second cost hiding in this trap that people rarely consider. You cannot simply join a drug plan the week a doctor hands you a new prescription. Enrollment generally only opens during specific windows of the year. So someone who skipped coverage does not just face a penalty later. They can be stuck paying full price out of pocket for months, waiting for the next window to open, at the exact moment their health has changed. And if you already have drug coverage from somewhere else, there is one piece of paper you need to know about. If you have drug coverage through an employer, a union, or the VA, that can count as what Medicare calls creditable coverage, which protects you from the penalty. Your plan is supposed to send you a notice each year saying whether your coverage is creditable. Do not throw that letter away. Keep it in a folder, because if Medicare ever questions your history, that letter is your proof. Trap number 3. Believing COBRA or retiree coverage protects you. It does not. Now we come to the trap I warned you about in trap number 1, and it may be the cruelest on this entire list, because it catches people who genuinely believe they were doing everything right. Remember, you can delay Part B safely if you have coverage from a current employer. The operative word is current. And that is exactly where COBRA comes in. Picture this. Someone retires at 65 and their company offers them COBRA, the program that lets you keep your old workplace insurance for a while after you leave. They think, perfect, I am still covered, I will deal with Medicare when this runs out. It feels completely reasonable. But in Medicare's eyes, COBRA is not coverage from a current employer, because you no longer work there. In Medicare's rules, COBRA and most retiree plans do not count as current employer coverage. That single misunderstanding sets off a chain reaction. Your special enrollment period for Part B runs for 8 months after your employment ends, not after your COBRA ends. Ride out a long stretch of COBRA first, and that window can quietly close while you feel perfectly safe. Then you are facing the late enrollment penalty from trap number 1, and possibly months where you cannot enroll at all and have a gap in coverage. The same caution applies to many retiree health plans. They can be a wonderful supplement, but they generally do not replace your need to enroll in Medicare on time, and many of them are actually designed assuming Medicare pays first once you are 65. Skip Part B while leaning on a retiree plan, and you can end up with shockingly large bills that nobody pays. I want you to feel how easy this mistake is to make. Picture a man who retires at 65 after 30 years with the same company. As a parting gift, they cover his COBRA for a generous stretch. He feels protected, even grateful. He sees no reason to touch Medicare paperwork while the coverage runs. And while he waits, his 8-month window quietly expires behind him. He did nothing careless. He simply trusted a word, covered, that Medicare defines differently than he did. So if you are leaving a job around 65, here is the rule that keeps you safe. The moment your employment ends, your Medicare clock starts ticking, no matter what other coverage you carry afterward. So treat the end of work, not the end of COBRA, as your deadline. Sign up for Part B within those 8 months, and use COBRA or a retiree plan only as a bridge or a supplement, never as a replacement. That one rule alone can save you from years of penalties. Trap number 4. The income surcharge based on a tax return from 2 years ago. This next trap has a strange name and an even stranger rule. It is called IRMAA, which stands for Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. In plain language, if your income is above a certain level, Medicare charges you more, sometimes much more, for Part B and Part D. But here is the twist that catches almost everyone. The income they look at is not this year's income. It is your tax return from 2 years ago. Think about what that means for a brand new retiree. You retire at 65, and your income drops dramatically. But Medicare is setting your premium based on the year you were 63, when you were still working full-time, perhaps in your highest earning year ever. So in your very first year of retirement, living on a fixed income, you can be charged the premium of a high earner. Your Medicare premium is set by your income from 2 years ago, but you can appeal it. Here is what almost nobody knows. If your income dropped because of a major life change, and retirement counts, stopping work counts, losing a spouse counts, you can ask Social Security to use your newer, lower income instead. There is a specific form for it, and people who file it can see their surcharge reduced or removed entirely. Yet most people never appeal, because they never knew they could. They just quietly pay the higher bill. And one more warning while we are here. One-time spikes in income can trigger this surcharge too. Selling a home, cashing out a large investment, or converting a big chunk of a retirement account in a single year can all push your income over a threshold, and 2 years later your Medicare premium jumps and you cannot figure out why. If you are planning a big financial move, it is worth knowing this rule exists before you make it. There is one more sharp edge here worth knowing. These income thresholds work like cliffs, not slopes. Go even $1 over a line, and you pay the full higher surcharge for the entire year, not just on the dollar that crossed. That is why careful retirees pay so much attention to where those lines sit. A slightly smaller withdrawal in December, or a large move split across 2 tax years, can keep you on the cheaper side of a cliff. So here is exactly what to do if your premium looks too high. If you get a letter saying you owe a higher premium because of your income, and your life has changed since that tax year, do not just accept it. Contact Social Security and tell them you want to report a life-changing event and request a new decision. Bring proof of your retirement or your reduced income. It is one of the simplest appeals in the entire system, and it can be worth thousands. Trap number 5. The one window that closes forever. Your Medigap open enrollment. And now we have arrived at trap number 5, the one I told you about at the start, the only trap on this list that can truly never be undone. Every other mistake in this video can eventually be patched, even if it costs you money. This one can permanently close a door. It is about Medigap, the supplemental insurance that covers the gaps Medicare leaves behind. Original Medicare is good, but it leaves real holes, deductibles, co-insurance, and no yearly cap on what you can be charged. Medigap policies exist to fill those holes. And when you first join Part B, you get a one-time open enrollment period, 6 months, during which insurers must sell you a Medigap policy. No health questions. No medical exams. They cannot turn you down, and they cannot charge you extra for your health history. For 6 months after Part B begins, no Medigap insurer can turn you down. Then that protection ends. But when those 6 months end, that protection ends with them, and in most states it never comes back. Apply for Medigap later, and the insurer can ask about your health, dig through your medical history, charge you far more, or simply say no. Develop a serious condition first, and you may find that no one will sell you a policy at any price. The healthy person who said, "I will decide later," can become the sick person who no longer has the choice. Please hear this clearly. This is not about whether Medigap is right for you. For some people it is, for others a different path makes sense, and that is fine. The trap is not choosing wrongly. The trap is not realizing that this particular choice has a 6-month fuse on it. Decide on purpose, inside the window, while every option is still legally required to say yes to you. Let me give you the picture I wish more people saw at 65. A perfectly healthy retiree skips Medigap to save the premium. The years pass kindly, until they do not. Then comes the heart condition, or the diagnosis, or the knee that finally needs replacing. Now they want that policy, and the applications come back declined, or priced far out of reach, precisely because they now need it. That is the cruel arithmetic of this window. The moment you need the coverage most is the moment it stops being offered. So if you are about to start Medicare, circle this on your calendar in red. The day your Part B begins, your 6-month Medigap window begins with it. Use that time to genuinely compare your options, original Medicare with a Medigap policy, or the other route we are about to talk about in trap number 6. Whatever you choose, choose it knowingly, inside those 6 months. Because this is the one deadline in all of Medicare that no appeal, no form, and no phone call can reopen. Trap number 6. The Medicare Advantage door that is easy to enter and hard to leave. Every fall, the advertisements are everywhere. Medicare Advantage plans with low or even $0 premiums, plus dental, vision, hearing, gym memberships, sometimes even grocery allowances. And to be completely fair, for many people these plans work out well. They are a legitimate part of the system, and millions are satisfied with them. But there are two things the commercials almost never explain. First, the trade-offs. Medicare Advantage plans typically come with provider networks, so your doctors and hospitals need to be in the plan, and referrals or prior approvals may be required before certain treatments and procedures. With Original Medicare, you can generally see any provider in the country that accepts Medicare. With an Advantage plan, your care flows through the plan's rules. When you are healthy, you barely notice. When you are seriously ill, you notice. Leaving Medicare Advantage later may mean Medigap insurers can refuse you. Second, and this is the real trap, the door often swings only one way, and it connects directly to trap number 5. Suppose you pick an Advantage plan at 65, and years later, your health changes and you decide you want Original Medicare with a Medigap policy instead. You can switch back to Original Medicare during an enrollment period, yes. But that Medigap policy now requires health underwriting in most states, because your 6-month guaranteed window is long gone. They can charge you heavily, or refuse you outright. There is one safety hatch worth knowing. If you joined a Medicare Advantage plan when you were first eligible, you generally have a trial right, usually your first 12 months, during which you can leave the plan and still get Medigap with guaranteed acceptance. After that trial period, the protection fades. So if you try Advantage and have doubts, the first year is the time to be honest with yourself, not the 5th. And one more thing the brochures rarely mention. Advantage networks are local. If you travel for long stretches, spend winters in a warmer state, or split your time between the grandchildren, a plan built around your hometown's network may cover far less the moment you leave town, outside of true emergencies. Original Medicare, by contrast, travels with you to any provider in the country that accepts it. If your retirement includes a suitcase, that difference deserves real weight in your decision. So before you sign up for any plan because of a television ad, do this one thing. Check 3 things first. Are your doctors and your hospital in the plan's network? Are your medications on the plan's list, and at what cost? And what would it actually cost you in a bad health year, not just a healthy one, because the yearly out-of-pocket maximum matters far more than the monthly premium. A $0 premium means very little if the plan costs you thousands when you actually get sick. Trap number 7. Setting your plan once, and never looking at it again. Our final trap is the quietest one of all, and unlike the others, it does not strike once. It bleeds money slowly, year after year. Here it is. Most people choose a Medicare plan one time, at 65, and then never seriously look at it again. They assume that since nothing changed on their end, nothing changed at all. But the plans themselves change every single year. Every fall, your plan can change its premium, its deductibles, its copays, its network of doctors, and the list of drugs it covers. A medication that cost you a few dollars this year can move to a more expensive tier next year. A pharmacy can drop out of the network. Your plan is required to mail you a document explaining all of this, the annual notice of change. And every year, millions of those envelopes go straight into the trash, unopened. Every year from October 15th to December 7th, you can switch plans freely. That is exactly why Medicare gives you an open enrollment period every single year, from October 15th to December 7th. During those weeks you can switch drug plans, switch Advantage plans, or change direction entirely, and the new coverage starts in January. People who spend even 1 hour comparing during that window routinely find the same medications, the same doctors, for hundreds of dollars less per year. The savings are real, and they are sitting there unclaimed. And you do not have to figure it out alone, because there is free, unbiased help available. Every state has a state health insurance assistance program, often called SHIP, with trained counselors who will sit with you, compare plans for your exact medications and doctors, and walk you through switching. They do not sell anything and they do not earn commissions. It is one of the most underused free services in the entire country. Let me put a number on what that 1 hour can be worth. Counselors see it constantly. A retiree walks in with the same plan they have had for 5 years, certain that nothing has changed. A single comparison shows the same medications, the same doctors, available on a different plan for hundreds of dollars less per year. Sometimes over $1,000. The old plan was not wrong when they chose it. It simply stopped being the best deal, quietly, while nobody was looking. So here is the yearly habit that quietly pays for itself every single autumn. When that annual notice of change arrives in the fall, open it. Look at what your plan will cost next year, and whether your drugs and doctors are still covered. Then, between October 15th and December 7th, spend 1 hour comparing, on your own or with a SHIP counselor. 1 hour a year. That is the entire price of never overpaying out of pure habit. So those are the 7 traps. The Part B late penalty. The Part D drug penalty. The COBRA misunderstanding. The income surcharge from 2 years ago. The Medigap window that closes forever. The Advantage door that swings one way. And the yearly review that almost nobody does. Before you go, give me 60 more seconds, because there is one thing that ties every single one of these together. Every one of these deadlines passes silently. No warning. No reminder. No second letter. Nobody from Medicare is going to call you before your enrollment window closes. Nobody warns you that your COBRA does not count, or that your Medigap window is about to shut forever. The system assumes you know the rules, and it charges you for life when you do not. That is not fair, but it is how it works. Which means the protection has to come from you, and it is easier than you think. So here is your simple plan. If you or someone you love is approaching 65, write down the 7-month enrollment window today, 3 months before the birthday month to 3 months after. If you are already on Medicare, find this year's annual notice of change and actually read it. And for any question at all, call your state health insurance assistance program, or 1-800-Medicare. The help is free, and the call costs you nothing but a few minutes. Write those down on a sticky note right now, and put it somewhere you cannot miss it tomorrow morning. And if your situation is complicated, still working past 65, retiring with COBRA on the table, or weighing Medigap against Advantage, please do not guess your way through it. One conversation with a SHIP counselor, or with a professional who truly knows Medicare, can protect you from every single trap in this video. These are lifetime penalties. They deserve an hour of your attention before the deadlines arrive. You spend a lifetime earning this coverage. Do not let a silent deadline take it from you. If this video helped you, or if it might protect a friend, a neighbor, or someone in your family who is turning 65 soon, please share it with them. One missed window can follow a person for the rest of their life, and a single share from you might be the warning they never would have gotten otherwise. Subscribe, because the next one could protect even more of your money.